Good evening and welcome to Scrapbooking with a Twist. We are going to make a cute little embellishment tonight, and I will have to be very honest. All the way through making this, I was not convinced that it was going to be cute, but when I got through, I liked it. So we're going to make this little girl. I looked through my Cricut, my silhouette stuff, and I just could not find anything that I really wanted to do for our Taco Tuesday swap. And so I just decided I would make a paper doll and figure it out as I went. And so that's kind of what I'm going to do. And like I said, all the way through it, I was like, oh, I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't think it's going to turn out. And then when I finally really finished it up, I really liked it. I loved it. I thought she turned out really cute. So this is a 4-inch paper doll, and I just cut her out. It's going to be a her. I just cut her out of craft because we're doing it for Taco Tuesday, the little Mexican theme, and so I think that was a sweet little toasty choice there for the skin tone. And so I'm going to just glue this little piece of black, and you can cut another paper doll in black, which is what some of them tell you to do. But I just glue that little piece of black on there so that I have something behind the eyes, because we're going to put something for her eyes anyway. So this is kind of a long drawn out process, to be real honest about it, but I think it paid off because I just think she's too cute. So we're going to get from this to this, and so I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ink my little paper doll. I know I ink everything, and some of you are thinking, that woman, she just inks everything. But you're going to see tonight what a difference it makes in a piece that's inked. When I start on parts of this little embellishment, you're just going to go, well, that's ugly, and it is. But then when we get it all inked, it is so cute. So there are just parts of her that needs to be inked that are going to show, like her arms right in through here, her hands, parts of her feet, and like her chin and neck, shoulders, that part is going to show. So I'm going to set her right up there so I can see her. So we're just going to get the parts inked that need to be inked. Get this little arm and shoulders. I may go in with my little smaller brush and get some of these tighter spots because I do want it all inked. I use these little makeup sponges. They do a really good job on these little tight places like this. A cheap way to have a little bitty sponge. Okay, I think that is probably everything that needs to be inked. I don't really remember what order I did these in, so I hope I don't get out of order. So there we've got everything inked, I think, that needs to be inked on that. Then I think the one thing we can do is go ahead and put her shoes on before I lose them. Her little shoes. Let me show you what this is from. This is from my old Cricut that takes the cartridges. You know I use that all the time. I have a silhouette and another Cricut, but I use this little old Cricut fairly often. Just the paper doll, I have everyday paper dolls and I have paper doll dress up, and it doesn't matter which one you use the paper doll from, they're exactly alike. But I used, I want to just show you what I used. I used this little dress from, I think this is bedtime. This is all bedtime stuff, and I use this little gown, but we're going to cut it to where you don't recognize it. So I used that from just the everyday paper dolls. And then from the paper doll dress up, I used, that's where I got her hair and her shoes. That I'm showing the paper doll there. But the hair that I used was actually the pirate's hair. And then the shoes were from the, it was Hawaiian, called Island, I think. It was the little island page. So that's where I got these shoes. They're just like little sandals, which I thought was appropriate for our little girl. Get her little sandals on. I can't do this fine work and talk at the same time. I do multitask, but this stuff is kind of hard to do that. And I'm just using my Nouveau glue. I like it for these little fine pieces because it doesn't show if you get a little happy with it and kind of get it on things. It dries clear and matte. Okay, so we've got the shoes on. I want to just set our paper doll aside now, and I want to assemble the dress. And I want to, if you can see, I'm going to get this one out. This is one that I left unfinished because I want to show you a little bit. These little pieces are just a little piece of yellow flowered, yellow with some white flowers. And I just cut these little pieces like that to fit here and to fit here. I mean, literally just took that piece of paper and started cutting until I got those two little ruffles about the way I wanted them. And then I inked them in, this is close to my heart, Ocean is what this is. Kind of that aquamarine. I inked them in it. And then I used, and I'm gonna go ahead and do one of these. And while I'm doing this, I wanna go ahead and do the twist. The twist tonight, I'm gonna do the parable of the prodigal son. And I know that most of you probably know that, but it's a story that Jesus told to emphasize how God's attitude toward us. There was a young man, and he was the younger brother, and he went to his father, and he said, I just want my inheritance now. I don't want to wait. I want my inheritance now. And so he went off and he squandered all of that on wild living, and he found himself working for someone else. He was a Jewish boy. He found himself working for someone else, feeding pigs, which was the lowest job he could possibly have, feeding pigs. And their food was starting to look good to him. And he said, this is ridiculous. I've just got to go home. Even my father's servants are better off than this. And so he picks himself up and he goes home and he says, I'll just tell my father that I'm not worthy to be a son anymore, but I would like to be his servant. So he heads home with that attitude. And the father, it says, the father sees him from afar off and recognizes him and has compassion on him and runs to meet him and throws his arms around him. And the son says, I'm not worthy to be your son anymore. Can I just be a servant? And the father says, kill the fattened calf, bring me a ring, put a robe on him, and put sandals on his feet, because my son that was dead is alive. My son that was lost has been found. Jesus told that story so that we would see what God's attitude toward us is. No matter how bad we've messed up, God runs to us with open arms and welcomes us back to him. So no matter what we've done, no matter how bad we've messed up, we need to remember that story and know that God's just waiting. He recognizes us, he sees us from afar, and he begins to make preparation to take us back. That's pretty short and simple on that story, but I just wanted to share that with you tonight. Did you see how I made these little flowers? I didn't do the best on that one down there. Just 4 dots, and I'm going to do another one in a minute that I use 5 dots, and then just pull them together like with I use a little corsage pen. Just go into the dots and pull them into the middle, and they make pretty good flowers. And then I just did some little single dots. But that's how I did those dots, or those flowers, on these little pieces. But I couldn't do that because they needed to dry. Now we're going to take this little gown that I think it was actually the gown on that, and we're going to cut it down. We don't need the sleeves, so we're going to cut the sleeves off. And we don't need it near this long, so we're just going to cut that off. Get rid of all of that. We just need something, let's get our little paper doll over here, to go up here, and then we're going to add these little pieces to it. So let's go ahead and add our little ruffle to the bottom. Oh, I want to ink her little dress. Let's just ink very lightly around the edges to kind of tie it all together. I was trying to use kind of the turquoise and pink, since it's kind of the Taco Tuesday, Hispanic, you know, Mexico, whatever you want to call it, theme. And I like the turquoises and pinks and things like that for that. So that's why I'm using that kind of turquoisey color. And then we're just going to put this right here to give ourselves a little ruffle around the bottom. Just dressing up our little dress. And then kind of see where we want it. That looks about right. Let's just put some glue on there. Put our little dress on. And then we're going to put our little ruffle around the neck. And I kind of slanted it just because I thought it would be cute. I just kind of slanted it off of one shoulder. Just a little bit. Hold that just a second. I think I want a little more glue on here. Hold that dress a little more secure. Don't want her dress blowing up. Okay, that should do. Now I want to put her hair on. And in these paper dolls, the hair is too big to me. And so I did my paper dolls in 4-inch. I did the hair in 3.5-inch. And then I'm actually going to just trim it down a tiny little bit. It doesn't really matter because it's going to be under her hat. And then I'm going to trim her head down just a little bit. I want to ink her hair with black just to give it a little pizzazz. This little ink pad is just about history. I've been trying to use it. I use my distress inks now, and so I've just been trying to use up some of these little ink pads that I've had forever. I'm about to get them all used up, and this one is pretty close. But we want to get a little bit of ink all the way around the edge, and then I'm going to actually do just a little tiny bit out in her hair. I struggled finding the hair I wanted, but once I found this one, it was actually, like I said, it was in that paper doll dress up. It was the little pirate's hair. I decided I liked it, and it worked good for this. So this is just, and now I'm just going in and doing a little, just to get a little, almost a highlight in her hair. You probably can't even see it on the video, but just to give her hair just a tiny little highlight. Now I'm going to cut her head down. Like I said, it's going to be under her hat, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm just doing a cranial surgery here on her, and her ears showed, so I'm just getting rid of that. Oh, I didn't show you on I took this this is just a Ranger Distress marker, and I just did a little bit of this just to make it look gathered, just along there on both of those. It's not necessary, but I did it just to make it look gathered there. Okay, so let's make sure her head and her hair work. Yes, okay. Before I put her hair on, however, I want to give her some little lips. I'm just using my Tri-Blend markers, and I'm using the red. I think I used the light, and just do a little, tiny little bit for her lips, and I'm just following the line that's cut there. And I'm going to give her a tiny little bit of eyebrows. I know you can't see, but they're actually cut or embossed from that. I'm going to give her just a tiny little bit of a nose and tiny little bit of eyebrows right there. And then she needs some cheeks. So again, this is my Close to My Heart blush color. And we're just going to very, very lightly, actually, I want to get most of that off of there. And we're just going to come in and do some little sweet cheeks right there. There's very little left on my brush, just so I can, or my little sponge, just so I can get some little cheeks there. There we go. All right, now I think we can put her hair on. There we go. I may take just a little more right off the top of her head. The one that I'm gonna make, I'm gonna show you some variations, because not everybody might wanna do a Taco Tuesday or, you know, theme. We're gonna talk about the different things that you could use this for, but not everyone may want that, so we're gonna do a couple of little variations. So let's get her hair on there, and then I'm gonna show you a variation that you could do to make this usable other than for a fiesta, or, I mean, if you did like San Antonio, or if you had something that was a fiesta theme or a Mexican food night, or, I mean, there's all kinds of things that this one would be precious for, but I'm gonna show you something that I thought that I'm gonna do one of them as. I'm gonna do one that's more Hawaiian. And so I took this little teensy tiny punch. It's one I have had forever from Hobby Lobby. It's just Paper Studio. And I punched several of those little flowers. And I just cut a little U, just the tiniest little U shape out of a piece of cardstock. And then I'll show you how, when I punch them, I just take a pen, or this is my jewel picker, and just kind of do them like that up around this to give them that, you know, shape them. And then I have these teensy tiny little jewels, little rhinestones, They're from Want to Scrap, and it's Say It With Bling is the brand, I think. But they are precious for little teeny tiny things like this. I'm going to use some black ones like for her eyes. Let's go ahead and do her eyes. But I thought you could do, I'm not going to glue this one down because I'm going to do the other, but I think you could do the little lei of flowers, and then maybe do a flower. These are just some Paper Studio, again, just from Hobby Lobby, some Paper Studio flowers that I got there. You could do a flower in her hair, or maybe a flower on her wrist. You could do a flower like down here on her little dress. Or if you didn't have any of those, you could just do more of these and make a little thing in her hair with like 3 of them. Like right up in there, put the little jewels in them. Maybe do one on her little wrist over here. And do another little arrangement of them down here on her dress. This would be cute for the beach, for Hawaii, for, you know, you could do it in white for like a outdoor wedding or something. I just think she's very versatile, but you could do something like that. And you've got a whole different, you wouldn't necessarily have to do those. You could, or you could do them in different colors. I just think she's very versatile to do a lot of different things with. And so I wanted to show that to you before I finish her off as the Taco Tuesday embellishment. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I nearly always tell you, but over on Ginger's Corner, it's a Facebook group that anybody can join. We do embellishment swaps, we play games, like we've got Around the World in 30 days going right now, which is a ton of fun. But you can join that and just join the fun. It's so much fun. All right, let's talk about her little hat, because her hat is, to me, what makes her. We're headed for this, but look at this. Well, that's not it. Where is it? Where is her hat? I've lost her hat. Oh, there it is. Okay. This was just the pattern. I did not have a hat for her. Like I said, I didn't have anything for her. And so the way I had it visioned, I had this on a sticker sheet, but I only had one, but at least it gave me something to start with. And so I drew this. I didn't like it quite so high, so I just cut it down a little. And then I wanted to be able to put it on her head. So I kind of swooped it down in the back. And then here, that was my pattern, and this is the one that I actually cut. And then I sliced it so that I could put it on her head. I just used my little X-Acto knife and just sliced it around there so that I could actually put it on her head. Now, to get this so that the way I wanted it, because I wanted it to look woven, you know, like their hats are woven out of straw. So I have this little piece of mesh that you've seen me use. If you watch my videos, you've seen me use it several times. So I just put that little piece of mesh on there, and I used my, this is frayed burlap. I just very lightly, and actually dab it off. It may want a little more than that. Okay. And just went around this hat. And I don't want it even. I don't want an even pattern. I just want to be able to see that woven look. So this mesh is going to give me that. If you heard my dog, I have a female Doberman, and I raise Doberman puppies, and she just had a litter of puppies yesterday. She's a good mama. So she's in there with her puppies. All right, I think that, oh yeah, that's good. And see how it's uneven, and I like that. I don't like that just real solid look of that. But it's starting to come around, but it still just looks like a piece of paper and kind of a piece of junk, to be real honest about it. So now, remember earlier when I said, you know, that woman just inks everything? Well, here we go, inking again. But inking this, and I think I did it in the frayed burlap still. Inking this just makes all the difference in the world. It just makes it a hat. So first we're going to ink around our edges, and we're going to ink pretty liberally. We want this to come into the, not just the little edges, I want it into the paper. And I mean, this is just what I want. I am certainly no expert on anything, but anyway, this is just what I want and how I liked it. So I'm going around all the edges. You know, when you have something in your mind and there's just, you can't find it like on your Silhouette or your Cricut to make it happen, I just want to encourage you to just bail out there and try to make it. I think you'll surprise yourself. I try things sometimes and they don't work. I mean, I'll be honest, they're like yuck, and I throw it in the trash. And all through this one, I was thinking, this is probably going to be one of those I just throw in the trash. So, okay, where I cut that with my little X-Acto knife, I'm just going to bend it on the way out to follow the rim of that hat and ink it all the way around. And like I said, I'm inking this very liberally because I want it, ooh, there's my puppies. I want it to really show. It just makes this hat what it is. Like I need a little more right there, more of a line, because that's where it's gonna go over her head. Now that's starting to look like a hat, and a while ago we just had a little piece of paper that was barely even cut in a hat shape. Okay, so we're gonna put her hat on her, and to me, when you slide this hat on her, she just suddenly becomes darling. Let's get this piece of paper out of our way now. I just think when you put her hat on her, she just comes alive. And that hat comes alive because you inked it. I'm just gonna stick some glue under there, hold it down. It doesn't need to do much of anything. Just enough to hold it. And I'm just putting her little hat right above her little eyebrows. Okay. Now, the next step is fun. We're going to use our Nuvo drops, and we're going to make the little balls. I think I'm going to do the flower first. I'm going to do a flower on her hat just to dress it up. Now I'm going to do a 5-petal flower on this one and a little bigger. Just go around in a circle with your dots. Get your pen back out and just go in the dot and pull to the center. And it makes a pretty nice little flower. And then I have my green Nuvo drops, and I'm gonna do 1 dot here and 1 dot here. And I'm gonna pull out on these. Like little leaves. So that's the flower on her little hat. And I want my, where'd they go? I'm gonna should I let that dry? I think I better let that dry. I'm gonna put a little rhinestone in the middle of that flower, but, and before I do the dots on her hat, I wanna put her eyes. So the tiniest possible little dot on that black paper that we glued on there. And I'm gonna get my little teensy tiny black rhinestones. And I'm gonna put one of those. I didn't draw her little eyelashes. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. And then I'll draw her little eyelashes. These are the tiniest little things. They are perfect for little eyes. Okay, I'm gonna get this is my little fine black pen that I did her little eyebrows with. And I'm gonna give her just some little eyelashes, just 3 on each side. And it doesn't really matter. And you go, oh, those are not perfect. They're not, but it doesn't matter. It still makes it cute. Okay, now we're gonna take our Nuvo and we're gonna do her hat. We're just gonna make this like those little balls all the way around the bottom of her hat. I know I went silent. Here I am trying to, you've got the line to follow, so it's really not that bad. Okay, and I think she turned out cute. And like I said, this is one of those embellishments that until I put her hat on her, I honestly thought she might be going in the trash. It was just one step at a time, and I kept saying, just go ahead and finish it. Just go ahead and finish it, and I did, and I'm so glad because I think she turned out really cute. So I just want to thank you for stopping by. I want to thank you for subscribing to my channel. And if you haven't already subscribed, I would love it if you did. If you enjoyed this little embellishment, give me a thumbs up and tell your friends. I'd really love to get to 500 subscribers. I'm like at 4 something. And it just is my honor that you stop in and allow me to share this time with you. And so thank you so much, and just have a blessed day, and thanks for dropping by.